Hey folks, welcome to the Generational Gap. I'm Robert, your resident Gen Xer, and right over there on the far side, that's John, our resident millennial. And
That's me.
John, it looks like we've got a sandwich tonight. What's going on there?
Yeah, it looks like a picture of a person. Not sure who it is. No. We've got Short Fat Otaku on tonight.
Oh
Long awaited
yes, yes,
Dev
yes.
is here.
Yeah, I don't have a webcam. Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. All the way from visiting, all the way from Leaflandia.
Leaf,
Leaflandia.
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 It's
Deb,
a
welcome to
fucking
the
leaf, you
show.
guys.
Yeah, we don't usually let Canadians on the show, but we made an exception for tonight.
Well, we're pretty terrible. We
Now,
voted in
now,
Trudeau.
now, to be fair,
That's true.
John, that's your rule, not mine.
Yeah, that's
I
fair.
mean, I'm
I do
down.
see. I do make fun of Canadians a lot, but at the same time, like I feel bad every time I do because they're so polite that like I guess it's like a defense mechanism up there, isn't it? Just anytime someone starts digging in, just like, oh well, sorry, boot that, and then
Well,
you're like, ah,
we actually had a court case that had to decide that saying that you're sorry after an accident didn't mean that you were legally liable for the accident,
well, I mean that's
because people
fair,
kept
right?
saying sorry
Right,
and they were just like expressing, generic apology, not that, oh, I did it, I'm sorry that I did it. You know what I mean?
right. That's awesome.
So we had to have that like enshrined in law because people kept doing it. People kept getting charged. Like, well, obviously he's guilty. Obviously he's the one that hit me in the car accident because he said he's sorry. And it's like, well, no, not exactly.
Well, now is that the most Canadian thing to ever happen, or is something topped that?
And that's pretty Canadian, all things considered.
I mean,
And
yeah, I don't
yeah,
think it
well,
gets much more than that.
So
I wanna-
the conceit of your show is that you have two people of different generations. That's why it's called the generational gap.
correct. How
Correct.
intuitive. Yes.
He picked
Okay,
up
so
on that.
Indeed.
so you got Gen X, and then you got
A filthy millennial.
A lazy
Yeah,
millennial piece of shit.
oh,
that's
lazy
right.
millennial.
No,
Lazy
no, no,
millennial piece of
no.
shit, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, he doesn't bother to shave. That's the problem.
You should get
It's
yourself a
really.
Zoomer.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
man,
See now. See, I don't know if I
we've
could
tried.
handle a zoomer. I don't, I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's a little too much.
Whew. I actually live with a couple of Zoomers, so I'm just like I don't know if I can tolerate too much of that.
Or are they your kids or something?
Step kids, yeah.
Mm.
It's don't tell them I said that, but it's just one of
Do,
those things.
Right.
do you like turn the corner in the house and you see them doing like a Fortnite dance and you're like, oh no.
Uh,
Probably not. No, I imagine they don't.
well, one of them, Casey, was into it for a while. Yeah, she was.
Oh, really?
She was into Fortnite for a while.
Yeah,
It was. Yeah,
that's
she
pretty
got out
lame.
of it, and then she's like, "Oh, you mean people are winning money on the tournament? Yeah, yeah. You missed that train. Sorry, sorry."
Oh man.
Hey, John, before we get too deep into this, I
Yes.
believe I want to make sure that we get a couple of announcements out there real quick before we start running off at the mouth too much.
Yes, definitely. Um, so coming up, we have on Halloween, we have our 3 hour charity stream for St. Jude's. We're gonna do some spooky stuff and try to raise some money for some sick kids. And then Friday, December 9th, we have December 6th. Sorry, December
Yeah,
6th.
yeah,
We
that's
have
I mean, curveballs, you son of a bitch.
yeah, no, December 6th. We have a 12-hour live stream for Toys for Tots. So we're gonna try and raise some money for some kids who might not otherwise get any toys. So at the moment, that's all we have for announcements.
Sweet, sweet. So, folks,
Yeah.
while you're listening, if you like what you're hearing, hit the like button. If you don't like what you're hearing, please hit the like button in, just in anger, whatever. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And, before we get into any topics or anything, Deb, if you could, pretend like I'm an old person who doesn't buy into all the YouTube BS and all the social media BS. Who the hell are you, and how did you get where you're at?
Well, to be fair, I don't buy into any of that either, and I haven't really gotten anywhere. all things considered, like I have 68,000 subscribers on YouTube, and In terms of YouTube, that is my biggest claim to fame, basically. And I remember like 10 years ago when 68,000 was like a huge number. Like it wasn't the biggest, but if you had 68,000, you were well on your way. Now, not so much. You know, it's not small, but it's not big anymore. You know,
Right.
so I think there are some people, especially people who are still trying to get started, who see my subs and it's like, wow, that guy's like, no, I'm there's not much to it. There's really not much that's different. You know, all things considered.
I think that kind of changes though. Like as you get more, you know what I mean. Like your threshold gets higher. You know what I mean? Like I expect to have
I can
this
actually
amount.
tell you a little story about that. In fact,
Definitely.
So, are either of you aware of my Total Biscuit video that went viral?
No.
Maybe 2 years
not off
ago.
the top.
Not
Not off the top of my head.
I did a video called "Why Do YouTubers Become Assholes?"
I think I think I do remember that.
Yes, as soon as I said it, you remembered
Yeah.
it. Because everyone was watching that back when it came out. But actually, they weren't, because I put that video out, and it sat at around 5,000 views for about 2 months.
hmm
And that was about what I got on average back then. And then what happened was 2 months later, I went over the sub threshold for 10,000, the 10,000 sub threshold. And as soon as that happened, it's like a switch in the back end of YouTube turned on, and a whole bunch of my my videos started getting hits, like old videos started getting hits out of nowhere. However, that video that had been sitting at about 5,000 views for 2 months, it skyrocketed to nearly 1 million.
Wow.
And nothing else had changed except for me hitting 10,000 subs. So I guarantee you, 10,000 subs is the threshold. If you can just like scrape your way to 10,000, then YouTube will actually start featuring you.
Nice. I know that we're looking at our analytics. We've been featured in India quite a bit for some reason. Especially our first episode. Our first episode, for some reason, is very popular in India. I'm not sure exactly what the deal with that is, but that has our most viewed video. But
it's probably the what is it? It's the whole India coming online event right now. It's the thing that beat PewDiePie, basically.
Yes, yeah.
Because even though T-Series' channel is not really all that active, honestly, the fact that you have millions of Indian people getting connected to the internet for the first time because they're actually making inroads with infrastructure into like the center of India now, which is definitely a good thing. But it caused all these people to show up and subscribe to T-Series. Like millions of people that were living in huts 20 years ago now have internet.
Yeah, that's what I had heard, was that as soon as they made a YouTube account, they were automatically subbed to T-Series.
I don't know if that's the case. That could just be some conspiracy theory stuff.
Could be.
I mean, maybe, maybe, but it's probably more likely that they're in India and they just got recommended it, which seems probably the case.
Yeah, fair enough.
Well, I'll take the views, I guess. I mean, like, whatever. Okay,
yeah, I mean, it's just kind of weird, though. Like,
yeah. Fine. Bollywood, here we come.
Yeah, right. We'll go over there and everyone will know who we are, and I'll be like, oh, weird.
Can you follow the rules, though, John? I mean, when you see that cow in the road.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't hurt a cow. I mean, come on.
Really? Don't you eat it?
I could eat it.
I was just gonna say.
Yeah.
I mean, are you gonna see a cow? Or are you gonna imagine there might be a sesame seed bun around that thing?
Well, I mean, if you could look it in the eyes and slit its throat, I mean, that's on you. I couldn't do it, but I'll eat it.
Hey, it's got to get to the table.
It's not cow shaped when it's going to. Yeah, exactly. It's not cow shaped when it's going.
It's got to get to the table somehow, John.
Yeah.
So hold on. If the steak was cut into the shape of a cow, you wouldn't eat it?
Yeah, I probably would. Steak is fucking delicious.
What if they put one of those googly eyes on the head? Just for added effect, huh?
You can give me a pamphlet with the name of it, how old it was. I don't care. Yeah,
right.
It's not alive still.
Yeah,
it's not going to bring it back.
Well, again, it's got to get to the table somehow, John. You got to deal with it.
Yeah.
Hey, so something I wanted, John, you brought this to my attention, and I guess Dev, you've got some idea about this too. I did not realize this was a thing. So. John, what do you know about this RPG consent form that you talked me into looking. I'm not signing anything. I'm just telling you now. I'm not.
You do not consent, is what you're saying.
I want to be able to sue your ass if I need to. Go ahead.
Yeah, I haven't actually had a chance to read it yet, but I have seen people talk about it, and I've seen, especially like the first 3 pages. It's all about like getting your party around the table when you're playing D&D or some other tabletop game. Basically like outlining what is okay and what's not, and you have to get like each person's consent to put whatever whatever themes are going to be in there. Which I mean, generally, it's not a bad idea to at least get a feel for what your players want to play, especially if you're the DM. Like you kind of you want everyone to be okay with what's going on, but at the same time, there was some like ridiculous shit in there. Just I don't know. You have to bring it up. Do you have it up right now?
I have it up on this. I have it up on this screen.
Oh, there you go.
Now.
Yeah, you got the checklist.
Yeah, here's the checklist. Yes. So
let's go through that real quick.
So of course it's got all your general stuff for your names and everything. So it starts off with, if this game were a movie, its movie rating would be G, PG, PG-13, R, NC-17, other. I like other. Triple X, please. Yep. And then mark the color that best illustrates your comfort level with the following plot or story elements, where you have green for enthusiastic consent, yellow if okay if veiled or off stage, might be okay on stage but requires discussion ahead of time, uncertain. Jesus. Wow, that's a lot for yellow. I thought I just meant drive very fast. Red is.
You know what it sounds like? It sounds like those sexual consent forms you see floating around campuses nowadays.
Yes, I've heard about those. Oh my god. And then red is a hard line. Do not include. So that is that's your hard stop right there. Anything red. So of course it goes into horror. So that's a good place to start. Horror. We just want to know if anybody's going to get queasy if we talk about things like bugs, blood, demons, eyeballs, gore, harm to animals, harm to children, rats, spiders, and then we've got some open blanks just in case you want to fill anything in, like outside. The outside is terrifying. It's terrifying.
Yeah, this whole game takes place in my house, right?
Do we have to leave the basement at all?
Right.
Relationships that you're comfortable with. Romance. Fade to black. Explicit. Between PCs and NPCs. Oh, I'm not okay with having sex with NPCs. PCs are fine, but not between NPCs and PCs. Never. That's just that crosses a line with me.
Right, I have to put a big red on that one.
And just in case you're not, you can tell how you feel about sex between or romance between PCs, and then there's sex for all of those as well. So romance and sex, two different things, but we all know sex and romance are the same thing.
Right.
We've all learned this, right? And of course there are blanks that you can fill in if there's other things about relationships, like mommy issues, daddy issues, etc.
Like no incest, right? Something like that.
Well, there's 3 blanks, so you could probably fit incest in there if you need it.
Yeah, that's what they always say. You can always fit incest in if you need it.
John, it's a relationship section, not your fetish section.
Incest is a relationship.
Anyway, so social and cultural issues that might be of a problem. Homophobia.
I can't have that.
Racism. Real world religion.
Hang on, please. Racism is rampant in D&D.
Racism is expected in D&D, isn't it?
In any fantasy world, you're going to have races who inherently hate each other.
However,
especially dwarves and elves, like that's the biggest one.
However, I must say about D&D, they have done a whole lot for diversity, because there's a lot of playable races now where I'm just like, really? Really? You want me to go into a dungeon with a fucking stinking kobold? I mean, come on. I mean, who does that? Really? Don't tell Tinchy I said that.
We have a good question from the chat here too. Dev, did you really consent to playing D&D with Sargon?
Oh.
Not really, but I did it because it was a good
Ooh.
sub boost.
Yeah, fair enough.
Speaking of that 10,000 line,
I keep making that joke with him. It's like, this is why. Look at all these hits that I got. That's why I play D&D with you.
Yeah.
It's not true, but it's still fun. It's still fun to make the joke.
Hashtag free Wendy,
Yeah. So Sargon's actually a good sport about a lot of it, Like he has this air of being really uppity, and I think it's because of his accent. He's actually really chill.
Yeah, I actually got to meet him a couple of weeks ago in person when he was here in Orlando, and yeah, he was super chill, super easy to talk to and hang out with. It was pretty awesome. And yep, in the chat there, Dev internet raped by Sargon confirmed. Right, you heard it here first.
That's how it happened.
That's right.
see, well,
But yeah, he was a super chill guy though.
well,
Yeah, he really is.
rape can be consensual.
Oh yeah.
For one party, at least.
Hey, 50%'s not bad,
I mean, rape is always 50% consensual. I mean, you've got that much going for you, I guess.
Yeah. By the way, we're not monetized, so.
And I also disavow everything I say.
Yes.
Other social and cultural issues. Real world religion. Who here has ever been in a D&D campaign that had interjected real world religions? I just really.
The Sargon one was based off of Christianity, basically.
Yeah, but it was still like a different religion, so I guess that's how you get away with it. But
I mean, just in case you run into some Jewish elves, you need to tell me how you feel if war breaks out.
We know what side everyone's on here.
But then they also questions about mental and physical health, how you feel about dealing with those in the game, because cancer, freezing to death, claustrophobia, gaslighting. Are you fucking kidding? Like, that's a condition.
Any fire spells whatsoever?
Is it what?
Don't use any fire spells whatsoever. You might.
Right. So, John,
I burned my thumb one time on a lighter, and I can't look at fire ever since. It's very triggering.
So I'm telling you right now, John, if you ever accuse me of gaslighting again, know now it is a condition. That is a condition I deal with, and
it is. But I don't.
You can't disparage me. You cannot disparage me for it.
Yeah, I don't consent to your condition though. So.
Jesus Christ. Self-harm is the whole point to D&D is putting yourself in harm's way.
Right.
I mean, it's self-harm. like oh look, there's a spike trap, I'm gonna jump in it and see if I can miss the spikes.
Oh, I rolled a 1, but I don't consent to rolling 1s though, so
right. I think I would have to put critical failures as part of my mental and physical health issues.
That's right. If we can go ahead and retcon that would be nice.
And there is, of course, a beautiful section. Do you want the GM to follow up with you to clarify any of these responses, and if so, which ones? Now, I will say I have not had a chance to read through the 13-page booklet that accompanies this. However, in scanning through, there was something that jumped out at me, and I want to read this out. I think this is interesting. The X card. The X card is a game tool usable in any game where someone at the table can silently signal that whatever is happening or being discussed is making them uncomfortable. We don't have safe words anymore. We have to use the X card. This is usually done by having a note or index card on the table with an X on it that the person can tap or show to the group. If these show up in gaming boxes, I swear to God, I'm going to lose my mind.
I'm going to start using some of this during the vampire campaign that we're running now.
Yes, absolutely.
For some X cards, I'll give them to Uzlu to flash them on the screen silently and see what happens.
Yeah.
So if a player uses the X card, the GM or whoever is acting when the X card is activated should either revise the current content to avoid the problem content or skip ahead so the problem content is no longer present. I have an issue with dragons, so I think we should just skip ahead to the point where we're looting his hoard.
Yeah, I'm down. I want the XP though. I goddamn better well get the XP though. Like, oh my god, that's ridiculous. Yeah.
This is somebody's idea of where tabletop gaming should go.
I mean, isn't this why Pathfinder was created in the beginning? Was just to make D&D a little bit more PC. I'm pretty sure that was the deal.
See, I actually don't know anything about D&D aside from the 2 games that I've played on the internet now. So,
really?
No, that was my first game. Sargon's Crusaders.
Holy shit!
Wow.
You played like a pro though.
You think so?
Damn. Yeah. Especially
cool.
with Windlegar. That was the best character.
That was me. That was Uzulu.
Oh, that was Uzulu, wasn't it?
I was the fat black monk.
That's right. Yeah. You were. Yeah, he was awesome too, though.
If people were really in love with those characters, it's a shame that the campaign had to die.
Yeah. I still thought V's character was amazing, even though later on he got kind of, iffy on it. But
well, V ended up leaving the vampire campaign just because he couldn't do it anymore. I think it was like his girlfriend wanted the Wednesday. He's like, "Okay, dear."
Wow. Fair enough. Yeah, he did. Like Virgin V has sex with his girlfriend instead of playing D&D.
Yeah, man.
Oh man,
this is insane. I'm just putting that out there. I just want it to be known that I officially deem this as insane. So therefore, it's insane. There's nothing else. I don't know how else to say it. That's just fucked up. I mean, I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons since the first basic box set, and
way back in 1692.
In 16, yes, we took Grandpa's teeth and shaped our first dice.
Nice.
This is. I couldn't even imagine. I mean, because I know the kind of shit that's going. I mean, there's never been. I mean, whatever. Bring back the good old days where people are just worried I'm going to run down the street with a bastard sword, killing people, thinking they're all rats.
Mm.
Oh, you mean like that one Tom Hanks movie?
Yes. Very few people have seen that.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
Is this?
It's a Tom Hanks movie from before Tom Hanks got big.
It was like it's one of his first fucking things.
Yes. Yeah. Wow. And he played a kid who was getting into D&D, and he ends up going absolutely fucking insane.
Awesome.
The name of the game is the name of the movie. What was it? Heroes and Dragons.
Mazes and Monsters.
Mazes and Monsters. Yes.
Mazes and Monsters.
And there was that one like grizzled detective who was tracking his character was named Robbie. He was tracking Robbie down. He starts talking to his friends, and he's like, Mazes and Monsters is a far-out game. It's a hilarious movie. I highly recommend it to anyone.
And it is.
It sounds like Reefer Madness for D&D.
Yes, it was, and it's literally fun to watch Tom Hanks back then losing his shit over a RPG game. Yeah, it was. It was. I want to say I watched that. I want to say it was like 3 months ago. I happened to find it on Hulu or Netflix, one of the two. It's currently floating around on streaming right now, or might still be, I should say.
Damn. And we have here in the chat, Jay Edgar says you guys want to make a D&D campaign on Discord. Here it works. Absolutely. Hit me up after the stream.
Yes, as long as I get to win.
Well, I don't consent.
You consent to winning.
I will consent to that.
Yeah. So, you got anything else on this topic?
On the consent? No.
Yeah.
No. I strongly recommend that people go check it out. It's funny as hell to read through. I'm going to continue reading more of it because I'm getting a big kick out of it. If D&D starts putting this shit in their stuff too, I'm going to be like, okay.
I mean, at least it's still optional at this point.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of get it, right? Because in general, you do want to make sure that you're playing a game that everyone wants to be playing. But I don't think it needs to be so strictly codified in the way that they have it codified there.
Right. Yeah. I mean, of course. And you also, as a DM, or at least when you're playing with friends, you know your friends. I
Yeah.
mean, I guess if you're at like a game store or something like that doing a one shot, yeah, you might want to kind of get a feel for the table. But I mean, there's no need for all this bureaucracy just to play
Well,
goddamn D&D.
I think that's how they, and by they I mean like SJW. So I'm presuming it's SJWs doing this shit.
It's got SJW written all over it. Yeah.
Yeah. So like the way I see it is that they've always had this kind of love for order, like hyper order, in a sense that everything has to be written down and codified, and there's rule books, and you have to sign papers, and just bureaucracy upon bureaucracy. And
Yeah.
so this is just them kind of extending that into D&D.
Just ruining everything. You can't just have a good time anymore. You have to consent
Yep.
to having a good time.
And then it's not fun anymore.
Well,
Right. Once you know all the bullshit paperwork, I mean, you don't even want to play the
Yeah.
game anymore.
Well, also because when it comes to, I know we're not talking about, this is not strictly D&D, but when it comes to like flirting, part of the fun is the ambiguity of it.
Yeah.
The fact that you're talking to somebody and they're interested, but you don't know how interested they are, and like they're kind of playing coy, and you're kind of playing coy, and that's it's part of the dance. And as soon as that becomes okay, sign this paper, please.
It's the thrill of the hunt, yeah. And if you're having the fox sign a hunt, sign a form, you know what I mean? Like it kind of takes it out of takes the fun out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Have either one of you ever heard of the game Numenera, the
No.
RPG?
Nope.
That's who's put this thing out is Mont Cook Games, and they do Cipher, the Cipher system, whatever that is. But Numenera, I've heard of that before. They've got a pretty decent selection of games that they make, but none of them really jump out as anything mainstream. So maybe if looking into them, we'll probably find out that it's just a whole bunch of SJWs making very diverse RPGs. Diverse is the word we want to use. All right, so now outside of that, there was something I wanted to talk about, and I wanted to ask you about, Dev, because you just recently did a video on this, and it's got me freaked out thinking about the possibilities. And I need you to either put me at ease or tell me that I'm okay to lose my mind on this. You just recently did a video on deepfakes, and I found it quite compelling in a lot of the things that you were showing and you were talking about, just how widespread the potential for this is becoming. Is this something, how near in the future is this kind of thing that we need to be concerned about? What did you find out from looking into it?
Well, I think it's going to be a situation where within our lifetimes, unless there's something seriously changes, and I can only think it'll change legally because it's not going to change through technology. We will find a situation where unless you're talking to somebody in real life, you're not going to be able to tell that it's them.
I mean, so do you think, because you said maybe not technologically, but I mean, there's ways that you can look for, if images have been photoshopped, which is the most recent, thing that's kind of like that, because you can fake, photos and things like that, but you can tell if it's photoshopped or not. You don't think maybe there'll be some kind of technology that'll come alongside it so that you can kind of run it through, a filter or something and find out, okay, this has been doctored.
Well, I think that will always be one step behind the very best deepfakes, in the same way that like DRM for video games is always one step behind the ability of people to pirate video games. I think it'll be that kind of situation where we're just not going to be able to seriously ensure, when it really comes down to it, that like that person you're seeing on TV or that stream you're watching or that debate, that political debate that you're watching, it's actually them. Because if we have face tracking, we have voice recreation, and we have the ability to paste a face onto another face, you put those three technologies together, you can fake somebody. You can just straight up fake them.
Well,
and I think that like any kind of tech that will exist out there to detect them will always be one step behind the most sophisticated fakes, just because that just seems to be how technology works in a sense. Like there seems to be some kind of, I wouldn't necessarily call it a law, like a vague law that when it comes to the internet and digital tech, things just generally trend towards openness rather than closed offness. So you have a situation where people are always going to pirate, and it doesn't matter what you do, you just have to account for the fact people are always going to pirate. People are always going to, I don't know, ad block, and you can put in things that'll foul some ad blockers, but the ad blockers always be one step ahead because they're the ones that basically want to do something, and it's much harder to stop somebody from doing something than it is to do something initially.
Yeah.
So I think we are going to get to a point where unless they're just made illegal, we'll be fucked.
Well,
I mean, even then,
that's just it. There's no other way around it.
Because you would have to be able to, first of all, find the person who made the deep fake. Because once it's out on the internet, it's gone. It's out there forever, and it's gonna spread. Whatever it is, even if it's only for a short time. You know what I mean? It's gonna be very difficult, I think, at least.
Well, that's one thing. That's kind of the porn angle. It's like, well, I didn't actually shoot that porn. I just had my face put on it, and that's kind of humiliating. And that's important, but it's not as important as the political ramification. Because let's say that CNN, being the dirty smear merchants that they are, they decide to perfectly deep fake a video of a candidate they don't want to win an election.
Yeah.
And it goes viral, and then 24 hours later, it's discovered that it was actually deep faked. By then, the damage is done.
Right, exactly, yeah. But I'm saying, like, legally, how do you hold someone accountable when it's very difficult to find who it was that actually, produced the deep fake?
Well, if it's CNN, then you can hold CNN accountable, right? At the very least, people with reach and that have, like, companies that have something to lose, like CNN would, you can hold them accountable reasonably easily, You can say, hey, CNN, you're not broadcasting in the States anymore. It's one of those instances where, like, I don't like the idea of government involvement, like, to that degree. Yeah. But it's one of those instances where we just might not have any other option.
And that's the dark side too, is no option. But it was interesting, the Not Jordan Peterson website that you were talking about, and it amazed me to find out that that someone's got a software that with 6 hours of dialogue they can create this to where it'll speak in their voice. So, and you talk about making it illegal. Well, of course, we look at guns. People who aren't supposed to have guns get guns. People who aren't supposed to have alcohol get alcohol. This, that, and the other. Cigarettes, the whole 9 yards. The legality of it, you still got to be able to catch it. You still got to be able to prove it's fake, and they've gotten so good at this. I just 2 days ago I was looking at something, and there's a movie that was put out. It's called Nymphomaniac, and it had mainstream stars in this movie, but it was a very explicit movie where they used porn stunt doubles for all these actors to have sex so they could show pure penetration, explicit sex scenes. And their CG is so good that they have the actors' heads and body parts in this while the porn actors' bodies are having sex. So the technology's there, and it's being used for mainstream stuff. So if we talk about making it illegal, does that mean you can't use it as an art form then? I mean, Where's your line?
That's kind of how deepfake started, though. Was just putting some famous person's face on a porn actress's body.
Sure, and they used to be really horrible, right? And now you're hard pressed to tell the difference. But what's most concerning is what can be done with voice. Because would you agree, Dev, that that's something that would be a little easier to misrepresent someone with if you had a perfectly faked voice and you didn't need video, right?
I mean, like right now the technology is always not perfect. For example, the notjordanpeterson.com couldn't say my channel name without it sounding fake because he very clearly he doesn't say Japanese words in his usual voice, so it came out weird.
Right.
But that's just a technological hurdle that we can overcome. So yeah, like the face is one thing and the body's another, but really what does it is the streaming, because you could say like, oh well, at least this is a live stream of Donald Trump. Let's use Donald Trump as an example. This is a live stream of Donald Trump. Surely this isn't fake. But I mean, we're within our lifetimes, we'll see it. We will see the capability of faking a stream perfectly, just with a body double. So that's kind of the problem. Is that like. And I understand like the free speech and the art thing, but like, where do you draw the line? That's a reasonable question, and there's no good answer for that. But that doesn't mean that you don't draw a line.
Right.
I always come back to the pedophilia argument, right? Like, where do you draw the line? Some places say it's 16, some places say it's 18, some places say it's 20, and those are all rather arbitrarily set.
Right.
But they're all reasonable. They're all reasonable places to draw a line. So. Eventually you just have to draw a line.
Right. It's interesting you say that, because I've had problems with states that actually have have an age where women can get married, that it's legal to get married, 16, 18, sex, the whole thing. But at the same time, you can also marry your child of 12 years old if it's consenting between all the consenting parties. And it's like, wait, there's still states that can happen
with the parents, yeah.
Right. And it's like,
I'm not sure how square that is actually legally. I don't think this is young as 12 though, right? I've seen like 14.
I want to say that there was
not 12. And not that makes it much better, but
now, of course, this has been I could be wrong in this as far as from a time perspective and things having changed, but I know that there were still states in the union within the last decade that had an age of 12 to 13 years old that was allowable for marriage.
Fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy. So the legality of it. Again, I don't know that it would stop it enough. It's the key is, like John said, you have to find ways to determine very quickly whether or not something is, through technology, whether it's fake or not. Because if you don't want government involved in regulating it, then you've got to trust a litigation system to support, defending yourself with it.
Well, I do think that part of it will just be the technological requirements to actually pull it off will be quite high for a long time. So even if we get to a point within our lifetimes that it can be done, not everyone's going to be able to do it. So it might be a case where, like, okay, only large corporations, people with lots of money can do it, and then they're usually known entities, and you can go after them legally quite easily. Not easily, but like it's not like they can disappear into the night and no one knows who it was. It won't be like that.
Yeah, they're not skipping town. Yeah.
I think I know how we answer this. We hold the big tech companies responsible for filtering those deepfakes out. So we hold Google, Facebook, Twitter, all of them accountable for allowing any content to come onto their sites that are actually faked. And then something will get done about it without bringing the government into it.
Well, that doesn't necessarily solve the problem if, like, CNN puts it on their own site, right?
Well, yes and no. Well, I guess you're right in that aspect of it. So then we have to go after the web browser that I'm using. So, if I'm using Google Chrome and I go to CNN, I'll blame Google Chrome. See, there we go. We'll find a way to make big tech responsible for it. There's got to be a way. And then they'll fix it, and we don't have to get the government involved, who will want to play with all sorts of our toys.
Well, how do you propose that we get big tech to do it without having the government go after big tech?
Well, the government's already going after big tech, so I think we're screwed in that sense anyway.
Well, to be honest, I'm not necessarily thinking that's a bad thing at this point, because big tech is absolutely terrible.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, my freedoms, that's where I have an issue with it. While I don't feel bad for the tech companies at all, but I wouldn't want their, I wouldn't want them to
millions.
Yeah, I wouldn't want them to be suppressed, just like I wouldn't want to be. So it's kind of I don't know. Like, I'll defend their rights, but at the same time, I'm not going to lose sleep over anything that happens to them.
Yeah, I definitely understand that point of view, too. I mean, my point of view is that because they generally hold a monopoly on online free speech, they do have to be reined in a little bit. so that other people can have their rights, because right now it is getting a bit ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
But in general, no, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I, that is the problem I keep coming up against whenever I hear anybody say that, is the simple fact that while I understand that there may be a necessity for some government involvement, that government involvement is the open door I don't want them to have when it comes to anything dealing with the First Amendment. And sad to say, it's a double-edged sword right now.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but like, at the very least, you still have a way to redress the government if you have an issue, and it's called the voting system. You have no way to redress a corporation. You can stop buying their stuff, but I mean, I've never given Google a cent in my life. That hasn't stopped them, because you're the product to them. You're not the customer, so it doesn't matter.
Right.
So, like, to me, if given the choice between big government and big corporations, I'll take big government as long as it's democratic, because then at least you can have some influence. Like, neither's good, but I think one's clearly better than the other in general.
Well, I'll concede your voter.
Free and libertarian over here.
Right. I'll concede your voter point as long as you concede term limits.
Oh yeah, I think that Congress should have term limits in the states for sure.
All right, as long as we agree on that, that's fine. Not that you have to deal with it so much up north, but hey.
I understand the whole reading and libertarian thing. I'm with you on that. It's just that it's kind of the best of a bad situation. Like, there's no good answer to that one. And it's like, well, if you got to choose something, I guess it's this. That's how I see it anyway.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get that. It's just way less than ideal, and not something I would root for. Maybe not even something that I would
enforce term limits on
accept.
The chat says enforce term limits on death.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
That's funny.
Hey, so speaking of Canada, are you guys planning on helping get involved in this whole Iran Saudi Arabia thing with us? We're probably gonna take a little trip.
Deficit. How did you even say that?
Yeah, that one's a tough one. You cancel that. You're gonna have to come up with a better. We got to work that name out. Nobody can say that, so fix it.
Well, that is a meme in my Discord.
Oh, yeah. Is it really?
Okay. Yes, it is. Yeah. I can tell you the story if you like. It's not a long story.
Absolutely.
Okay, so my channel, actually, when it started, it was in 2009, and I wasn't involved. Because back in 2009, the whole big thing on the internet wasn't even YouTube. It was Blip TV, and the big players on Blip TV were the Nostalgia Critic, and the Spoony Experiment, the Angry Video Game Nerd, those guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Angry Reviewer channels,
right?
And so when it was my roommate and one of my friends, the two of them got together and started an anime review show called Otaku. I got involved in the third episode of that, and then about halfway through the first season of it, I was like more formally involved. So it didn't even start as my channel. Eventually, like, the two of them kind of shifted away from operating on the channel too much. They one of them moved away entirely and got a job somewhere, and the other one is still with me, but he's like taken a back seat to it, and I kind of run everything now. And now it's 10 years later, the channel's actually profitable and making money, but we're doing political content. We're not doing anime reviews.
Right.
And I have like a gaming side channel where I stream on Twitch and stuff, and it's a whole bunch of fun. But basically, the people who are involved, reasonably heavily in my community, they know this story. They know the deep lore of SFO. So they all like clamor to have the other guy back in charge as a joke. Which is what Devzit is.
That's funny.
They want me out and they want him back in charge.
Now,
even though if it actually happened, the channel would instantly tank. Because he does nothing.
now you say that, and you say they do it as a joke.
Mhm.
Now, is that how it really is, or is that just your
That's just how you're
narcissism?
maintaining
Is
power.
it? I mean,
No,
which
that's
is
Oh
it?
no, they definitely know that it's a joke, and we've kind of embraced it, and we're okay with it. But it's definitely they know. If you actually ask them seriously, oh hey, if Dave took the channel back over, what would happen? They all know that it would instantly die.
Hmm,
It's understandable. See,
fair enough.
it's good to have that kind of power, right? It's good to be in the
Mm.
seat. The seat. Um,
Oh man.
all right. So anyway, is Canada gonna go with us when we head to the Middle East?
You think you guys are going to be going to Iran and Saudi Arabia?
Well, Saudi
looks like
Arabia
it.
said that they don't need our help, so that tells me we'll probably help.
Really? Eh?
Yeah.
That's how it is.
That's just kind of how I'm used to us playing the game. It's like if the world says we're fine without your help, no, really, let us help. We're coming.
Well, see, I thought Trump wanted to stay out of the foreign wars for a while.
And he's done a good job of it so far. We'll have to see how the second term goes.
I
Because
don't know.
I don't think there's going to be a dim in the next election. I don't
Um,
see any of them making it.
unless they actually allow Tulsi Gabbard to
Yeah,
compete, and they're actively blocking her, as far as I can tell.
yeah, that's what it seems like.
Like, unless they allow her to actually get in there, no, Trump will win.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Tulsi could definitely beat her. Maybe Bernie on star power, but Trump's got it. I think if it's not those two, Trump's got it.
Yeah, but I mean, as soon as we get to the debates, because between like if it was Bernie and Trump,
Mhm.
I mean, at that point, everyone knows who they're going to vote for already.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's really no changing anyone's mind at that point. I mean, maybe a couple people, but not enough to make a difference. And so, yeah, I think Trump would take it at that point.
All right, here's
I
a
mean, maybe, yeah, but I do think that, like, if it was Tulsi and Trump, then I think the debates would
That
actually
yeah,
be game changers. Because Tulsi's a great candidate.
see now.
yeah, for the most part.
And I
For the most part.
see. I find this interesting because I'm, just in the echo chamber Discord, here and then in a little bit here and there in Twitter and in news articles. Tulsi Gabbard, Tulsi Gabbard, Tulsi Gabbard, Tulsi Gabbard.
Mhm.
If she's getting shut out and she's really got this kind of talk power, this low rumble talk power. If the DNC is shutting her out, is there any possibility that Trump's got any effect on that? Like, has he got any sway with the DNC in this to where they will basically just keep the bullshit in the race and throw it?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so at all.
Because I don't know. I've begun to wonder some of the shit that's going on with the DNC and with the Democrats in general. They're not putting their best foot forward necessarily, in my opinion. Especially
Well,
Tulsi Gabbard should be on the stage, and compared to some of the other candidates that are up there.
I think they are putting their best foot forward. At least they think they are, but their perspective is just so warped at this point. They have no clue what they're doing. I don't think there's anything. I don't think there's any kind of outside sabotage. I think they're just sabotaging themselves.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well,
it's a lot of cannibalism.
As for Canada going to Iran, though, I don't think so.
no.
As long as Trudeau's in charge, he's not going to get involved in that.
I wouldn't
Yeah, I
expect
wouldn't
you
think
would.
so.
No. But,
Canada went to Afghanistan and Iraq. Am I correct? In both of those?
Canada went to Afghanistan. We
Not
provided
Iraq.
boats in Iraq, but we didn't provide ground troops.
Gotcha. Yeah, 'cause I know the longest sniper shot ever recorded was in Afghanistan. It was a Canadian sniper with a British rifle and American 50 caliber ammunition. So that's why I was like,
Anglosphere Unite.
yeah, exactly, yeah. It was kind of cool, a little international coalition of fuck you up.
International coalition of fuck you up.
That's right. Oh man, but yeah, it does look like we're going though to Iran. I mean, we've been kind of prepping for it, but I don't know. With Trump though, it's so hard to tell.
well,
You
when you said that, Dev, about Trump not wanting to mess around in any wars right now, I thought to myself, When was the last time he said something then changed his mind shortly thereafter? Has that
He
happened?
does that constantly, doesn't he?
Right.
Yeah.
That's is that not his thing, his MO?
Yeah, he just kind of shoots off the hip. Yeah, that's definitely his
Yeah.
thing. But I think when it comes to something like fundamental, he has stuck to his guns. Like he stuck to his guns on the wall. He hasn't flip flopped on that at all.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't been like, oh, I heard something. I'm not going to build the wall now. No, he's stuck to it. I think there are a few things that he will just stick hard and fast to, and then stuff that doesn't really matter, he'll jump around. Just based on whatever.
Well, I have told John this, and I still believe it's true. It's easier for an incumbent president to be elected during wartime than not. It's just a feeling I have. It just seems to always be the case historically. If it's wartime and we've got a president who's handling the war, keep them going. I mean, that's the only reason we put Bush through for a second term, I think.
That could also be coincidental, just because we're at war constantly.
Well, there's that true. That's true, right?
It kind of happens anyway.
But I mean, that's a 4D chess move that I could see Trump making. Get into some sort of conflict during a campaign to get the second term election, to cement it, I should say.
Well, I don't think he needs to go to war with a new country. He could probably just revamp an old war. It's like, oh yeah, we're going to do a surge in Afghanistan or something. I don't think he has to start a new war to pull that off.
But he didn't have to. They kind of handed it to him on a platter. They're like, here, we're going to bomb 5% of the world's oil production.
I think just hanging out the uncertainty, over everyone, will kind of have the same effect without the bombs necessarily. You know what I mean? I think just saying, "Hey, we don't know what's going to happen. You don't want one of these guys in charge, right?" Or something more Trumpian, obviously. But
well, I mean, we're poised to strike. We've been poised to strike for a while. I mean,
Vietnam II electric boogaloo.
Yeah, right? Is that Sakachi? I believe that's Sakachi, right?
Sikachi, I think is what.
No,
Sikachi.
Sikachi. Yeah. Is it Sikachi?
Yeah. See, I know stuff.
Is it like a Pikachu thing?
I can read.
No?
Yeah.
All right.
It's like a Pikachu thing.
Is it a Pokemon?
Robert. Yes.
Is that a Pokemon?
We're going to wheel your wheelchair over by the window now, and you can just
Thanks.
be quiet over there.
Just tell me there'll be rainbows, and I'll be fine.
I'll tell you whatever you want. That's fine.
Right. That's just like the rest of the family. Thanks, brother.
Yeah.
No. I don't know. I don't think that just because they say they've got this handled, I mean, he wants to, after the Khashoggi thing, I don't know that he wants to distance himself because he kind of went in for a penny, in for a pound with Saudi Arabia on that, and I think that'll play into it a little too. We just sold them $1 billion worth of weapons, so that's a reason to stay hands off, but it's also a reason to go over and say, hey, let's show you how these do, I do know that gas prices are going to go up. That's going to be the sad part about it.
That's probably it'll probably have an effect on gas prices.
Even though we've opened up our reserves, we opened our emergency reserve so that we balance out any shortages in the global oil production.
Hopefully.
No, they already said that right after the strike. They opened that up. They said, okay, our reserves are going to be available for this to balance out production in the world. But I do not expect that that's going to keep gas prices from jumping up. There was a 19% increase in oil prices immediately after the strike, the following day or something like that. It's crazy shit. But anyway, so enjoy that, John. Enjoy those high gas prices.
We've only got a few minutes left.
Just a few?
Yeah.
Just a few?
I've got 2 questions though before we end.
Oh shit.
Sure.
Yeah. One is Poutine. Where can I get the best Poutine? Anywhere in the world.
Okay, well, there's a Canadian-owned chain that has expanded into the States quite rapidly in the past few years. Not Tim Hortons. It's called Smokes. Smokes,
okay.
Smokes Poutinery. And they make some really good poutine.
All right.
And
Fair enough.
you know what poutine? You must know what poutine is.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's like different versions of it, right? There's like it's not just like French fries, gravy, and cheese curds, right? There's like other stuff.
Well, yeah, you can put other stuff into it if you want. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, yeah. Sounds delicious though. I've never had it, so I should.
Well, honestly, like you don't need the cheese curds. You can just
I
can
think
just
I need
straight
the
up
cheese curds.
throw like grated cheese on it. It'll still work.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Like cheese curds pretty good, but grated cheese. If you just want to have poutine and you want to just like make it real quick in your house, you just get your fries, get some hot gravy, and you just get some grated cheese, and you go done. It's great.
French fries, gravy, and some grated cheese.
Yeah. What you do is you put the grated cheese.
We'll see.
What you do is you put the grated cheese on the French fries, and then you use the hot gravy to melt the cheese into like a liquid.
Okay.
And then you have the fries.
Oh, okay. See, when I was growing up, we used to call that a hot hamburger, but you put it on top of a piece of toast with a big slap of a piece of ground steak on it, and then you threw fries, and then you threw cheese, and then you smothered it all with a thick, rich brown gravy, and then you tried not to die eating it.
But like you get some more advanced poutines that have like you get like some ground beef in there, some onions and some mushrooms, and that kind of gets all mixed up. Or if you go to a place like Smokes, you can get like pierogi poutine. My girlfriend loves pierogi poutine, where there's like pierogies mixed in, and there's green onions kind of sprinkled in there. Or there's bacon cheeseburger poutine, and there's pizza poutine. Basically, you can get any kind of poutine you want.
That sounds pretty awesome. I'll have to see if there's one around here.
You sure that's not Pringles?
Pringles.
It's just kind of the same concept. It's just a fried potato, I don't know, some kind of potato.
All those flavors he's saying is just different flavors that Pringles potato chips have come out over the years.
So you guys don't have ketchup chips, do you?
No, thank God nobody has made those successful. And people have tried.
Successful? No, they do exist. Just no one eats them.
Right.
Well, they're really popular here. Everyone loves ketchup chips here.
Really? God, I can't even stand ketchup, much less ketchup chips.
So what you're saying is that we need two walls now. Is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Now I will say,
ketchup chips over there.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you who actually. If you want to find ketchup chips, you can probably find them in 7-Elevens. 7-Eleven makes their own brand of chips, and they do all these things. Have either one of you ever had a 7-Eleven hot dog?
No.
Be honest. It's okay.
We don't really have 7-Elevens here.
Oh, that's right. You're not in a 7-Eleven area. John, have you ever had one of their hot dogs? Be honest.
Unfortunately, yes.
They made a brand of potato chips that tasted exactly like one of their rotisserie hot dogs, the convenience store hot dogs, because I guess they thought their hot dogs were that popular.
That's disgusting.
But it literally, I'm sorry?
They've just been rotating there for 2 years. And they just put them in a chip.
Right. And they squeezed all the last of the flavor out of those dogs once they were rotisserie for 2 years.
They just put the grease all over the chip. Oh my God.
But yes, and they had the pickled potato chips. They've been doing some like now. They even did a steak that was actually pretty good. It was not bad. It was a flat iron steak flavored potato chip. But yeah, then I started thinking about it, and I'm like, all these potato chips with all these flavors, they're killing us. they're going to kill us one of these days.
Oh, yeah. And then my final question is, it's a pretty burning question.
Oh, no.
Traps, gay or yay?
Both?
No, you can't write the fence on this one.
Yes, I can, because both of those statements are accurate.
That's true, yeah. So gay or nay, then?
Gay or nay?
Yeah.
I mean, still both?
Yeah, I was listening to your weekly sip earlier today.
The one that I shot like yesterday or whatever it was? Was it today or yesterday?
No, that was today. That was
that this morning?
Today. That was this morning, yeah.
Jeez, I've done so much stuff today.
Yeah.
Okay, because I streamed some Mario Sunshine on Twitch earlier.
And you were talking about how you wanted to fuck a trap. So I was wondering where you actually stand on that.
Yeah, I probably would have had the opportunity. It's a new experience. You might as well try it at least once.
John, how many times have I told you this is not your dating show. Okay, just
Well, I
let
mean,
it
but
go.
I'm
Let
a
it
tit and a dick. I mean,
let it
come on,
go.
you're
Go out.
getting
Go
in
to
the
the
way
bar.
here.
Go to the
Don't
bar
cock
like
block.
normal people do. Get on.
Don't cock block here, man.
Get on
Come
Grinder. Get on. I mean, just.
Grinder.
right? It's not that gay, okay?
Come on, John. Just.
I actually completely forgot that I did the weekly sip today. I've done like 4 different projects today, and then I came to do this. So
That's
man,
crazy. Yeah.
Jesus, that's.
I mean, that about wraps it up for us anyway. So we're about to
Oh
let
yeah,
you go in a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's already been an hour.
really?
We
It
always
doesn't
like.
even feel like it, man.
We always like
Yeah,
to
you know.
end on a homosexual note. I think it's
That's right.
important. It's how we. That's how we sell the show.
Because you're being sold out in the chat here. Sikachi says, "I did so much stuff." Translates to, "I took a really long nap."
Yeah, see, this is the
called
thing. It's part of the Devzik mentality, where it's like, yeah, Devin does nothing, and like they see me doing stuff, they're like, nope, yeah, that's fake. That's a deep
That's
fake.
funny. It's a deep fake. Yeah,
Dev,
that's
you're
funny.
you're old. Your boomer brain is failing. Come with me behind the shed so we can go see the rabbits.
Aw.
I've read that book. I know what's going
Yeah.
on.
Oh,
Yeah, we can't put him down yet. Come on.
speaking of rabbits and books, I don't know how it's going to be, but just FYI, Netflix, Watership Down, coming. Just saying. Anyway, carry on.
Are we getting paid by Netflix?
No, but I just had to put it out there because I love Watership Down. If you haven't read the book, you should.
No, I haven't.
It's one of the greats.
I thought you caught us a sponsor. I was gonna be happy.
well, you know, make the phone call, John. Send an email. Do something.
Maybe I will.
Jesus Christ. Get us somewhere. All right. So anyway, folks, we're going to get the hell out of here because I'm tired of talking to anybody. If you like what you're hearing, hit the like button. If you don't like what you're hearing, hit the like button anyway because the dislike button is broken.
That's right.
Please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and give somebody a couple of bucks and get them to do it too. And we will reimburse you. Probably not. John, we've got a couple of announcements. Hit those up real quick if you don't mind.
Yes, coming up on Halloween, we have our 3-hour live stream for charity for St. Jude's. So we can, we're going to do some spooky stuff, some Ouija board action, some EVP stuff, whatever other nonsense we think of. And we're going to try and raise some money for some sick kids. So look forward to that. And then Friday, December 6th, I said it right this time, we have our 12-hour live stream for Toys for Tots, so that we can give some toys to some needy kids who wouldn't otherwise get any. And that's all we've got going on so far. We'll probably do another New Year's special as well, but
no, I highly doubt it because I do not want to kiss you again.
That didn't happen.
Shh.
I swear.
Traps or John. Dev, I want to say thanks for coming by. Why don't you throw some plugs out there? Tell folks where they can find you. I think it's a very long and extensive list, so feel free to throw whatever you got out there.
So, my main channel is Shortfire Otaku, and that's youtube.com/ShortfireOtaku. And I try to do stuff there semi-regularly, the keyword being semi. That's mainly a political channel.
Yeah.
Then I stream like nearly every night on Twitch on my gaming channel, which I've called Game Boomers. Game Boomers is it's like a side project, but it has all the same people. It's just that it's gaming focused and not politics focused. So I didn't want to involve people that didn't want to be involved in it. Right.
Right.
It's your own sort of consent form. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Sweet.
All right.
Well, I appreciate you.
Sorry. Yeah, there was one more. Sorry,
go.
I just got distracted for a second. The last one it's basically my thinkery, if you know Sargon's thinkery.
Yes.
I have a channel that I'm gonna. I have the channel name reserved. I just haven't put anything really on it yet. I'm gonna do that probably this month sometime. That I called the Dev Kit. Which I mean, my name is Dev,
right.
So it's kind of like a half decent pun. So I was like, that's a pretty good idea for a channel name. So I'm going to use that for like unboxings and behind the scenes and stuff that wouldn't really fit on the main SFO channel. So it's going to be it's going to be my the thinkery that Sargon has.
Kind of like you're shooting the shit channel, as it were.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I like that. Too bad there's not a show to plug for that. No, anyway. Well, hey, I appreciate you coming out and blowing off some steam with us and listening to us to ramble on for a while. It means a lot to me to have someone with, your level of followers. Though it's not that great because I've seen bigger. It's all right, but I've seen bigger. But no, really.
That's exactly how I feel about it too.
Right.
Hey, but thanks for spending some of your nice social time with us and not getting all crazy Canadian on us, as John's always fearful of.
Yeah, no
I'm
problem.
telling you, Canadians are too polite. They're up to something. I don't know.
Right? There's got to be something. There's got to be something.
Yeah, no one's that polite for no ulterior motive. Come on.
All right, we're gonna get the hell out of here, folks. Look for us on Friday at 8:30. That's our regular weekly stream, and then we'll be back again next Monday at our regular time of 9 o'clock. So that since we won't have any Canadians holding us up later than our normal time. But outside of that, thanks for stopping by, folks. Good to see new faces here. Good to see old faces, and I didn't actually see any of your faces. So peace out and have yourself a good night, John. We'll talk to you soon. Dev, thanks again for coming by.
No problem.
See you guys.
Peace.